Traveling by yourself is stressful enough, but then when you add kids to the mix, it's a whole new level of complexity. Traveling on an airplane with children requires a lot of preparation in order to make the trip successful and minimize hiccups. Although there will be stress to some extent, regardless of how well you planned, there are some ways to reduce your anxieties. Here are air traveling tips for kids to make your journey a bit more enjoyable. First, plan your flights wisely. It might not make sense to take a 4 a.m. flight. If it were just you, it might work. But try to determine the logistics of getting your kids ready and to the airport on time for that flight. You might be picking a unique time because it costs less money, but ask yourself if the money saved is worth the added stress. Really sit back and visualize what it will take to get your family in the car and at the airport in a timely manner. Don't pick a time that you know is just going to stress you and the kids out. Pick a time that will allow you to take your time and enjoy the moment. Next, consider finding a flight that doesn't have any connecting flights. If you can find a straight path, then that would be the best decision. Going from one flight to another can be really overwhelming if you're trying to get your kids off of the plane and board another flight. Also, be aware of seats. It's important that you plan your trip ahead of time so that you are able to find seats that are put together. It's always disheartening when a family is separated from each other, especially on a long flight. Second, understand the rules of security. There are specific rules about different items that are allowed and not allowed on a flight. Be sure to understand the rules so that you can get in and out of security quickly. Flights have rules about liquids, so double check about milk and formula products, medications, and weapons. Have all of the kids ready with their shoes off so that security will be a breeze. If you have something that is suspected to be dangerous, then you'll be asked to step aside, which will make the security check take longer. Kids don't handle waiting very well. Third, communicate with your child about the flight and the travel plans, especially if they've never been on a plane before. It's way scarier if your child isn't prepared and they're left in the dark about what's going to happen. Explain to them that they'll go through security, then they'll wait for the airline to allow for boarding. Talk about how it does take a bit to go through all of the safety rules, get passengers seated, and wait for their turn to take off. Make sure your child knows that takeoff can be a little scary because the plane has to get going pretty fast in order to make it up into the air. But then calm them down by explaining how cool it is to see the city get smaller and smaller as you soar through the clouds. It's such an amazing experience, and they're going to love being so high up. Fourth, snacks, and more snacks. Do not rely on the small peanuts that the airline is going to give you. Your kids are going to want food. Children are especially hungry and thirsty while traveling for some reason, and you just have to come prepared. Hungry and bored kids are grumpy kids, so it's important that you pack them each their own snacks that they can eat whenever they feel like it. This might be a good time to be a little more relaxed about the type of foods that your children eat. They might be more well-behaved if you provide a special treat for them during the flight. Fifth, entertainment is key. You might have rules about screen time, but this might be the time to throw that rule out the window and allow them to watch as much of their tablet as they'd like. Having bored children on a plane is miserable because they not only start bothering you, but then they start getting into fights with their siblings, and then they can start annoying other passengers. It's one thing to cause you stress, but there's a whole new level of stress when you notice that people outside of your family are judging you and your children. Entertainment can consist of movies, coloring books, novels, comics, card games, games on a tablet, or small toys that they pick out before the trip. Be creative and try to buy them specific entertainment for the trip so the kids recognize they're new, and it might be a little bit more exciting than their normal activities. Finally, plan for naps. If your child is still at the age where they're napping, then it's important to bring items where they'll feel comfortable sleeping on the plane. This could mean their favorite stuffed animals, their small blanket, or their pacifier. You can even find a simple travel pillow that will allow them to get comfortable while they travel. As we all know, tired children are unreasonable and very difficult to work with. If you want to ensure a stress-free trip, then arranging a way for them to sleep is crucial. Air travel with kids is very challenging, not going to sugarcoat it. But it is manageable as long as you properly prepare for the trip. You need to book your flights strategically along with coordinating adjoining seats. It's important that you pack the right essentials to keep them fed, happy, and entertained. These tips can make your journey a bit smoother and more enjoyable for everybody. Be sure to be patient and have an adaptable mindset in order to allow yourself to make changes when necessary. Try to enjoy the moment and the memories you're making with your family. For more tips and information about children, like and subscribe to our channel.